Namaskar, dosto. Thank you for loving my show, my podcast, and the kind of response you have given to my earlier podcast has been absolutely encouraging. We've got great people on our show, the Ashoke Pandit Show, who have been brilliantly expressing themselves. और आज जो हमारे शो में हैं वो मेरी बहुत ही पुरानी दोस्त है, जिससे मैंने काफ़ी डांटे भी खाई हैं, प्यार भी पाया है. मैं असिस्टेंट डायरेक्टर था उस शो में, जिस शो का नाम था ये जो है ज़िंदगी, और लगभग साल भर से ज़्यादा मैंने इस एक्ट्रेस के साथ समय गुजारा. बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिला, और सबसे बढ़िया चीज़ जो मुझे सीखने को मिली इस एक्ट्रेस से वो था पेशेंस एंड मस्ती मौज, एंड मेक योर लाइफ वेरी वेरी एनर्जेटिक एंड बी पॉजिटिव अबाउट इट. Yes, I'm talking about Swaroop Sampat, who is in my show. Swaroop ji, thank you very much for coming and being a part of my show.
Thank you for inviting me.
As everyone, all of you know that she's a brilliant actress. She was a Miss India. We'll talk about all that. But what really touched me, and I'm sure most of you are not aware of it, that she has been a great achiever in the field of education. She's an educationist. You're surprised, ना? जिस तरीके से इन्होंने एजुकेशन के फील्ड में अचीव किया, मैंने कहा ये इनकी कहानी जो है वो दुनिया को जानना बहुत ज़रूरी है, और एनकरेज करना किस तरीके से स्वरूप जी जो है वो एजुकेशन की फील्ड में आई. तो मैं इस शो की शुरुआत जो है वो इससे करूँगा. बाद में हम इनके फिल्मों की बात करेंगे, हम इनके टेलीविज़न की बात करेंगे, हम इनके एज एन एक्ट्रेस की बात करेंगे, थिएटर की बात करेंगे, इनकी जो परेश रावल के साथ जो दोस्ती बनी, इनके पति हैं, इनके बच्चों के बारे में, वो सब हम बाद में बात करेंगे. बिकॉज आई एम मोर कीन टू नो दैट व्हाट एंड हाउ शी अचीव्ड इन द फील्ड ऑफ एजुकेशन एंड व्हाट ऑल शी हैज डन. आई एम वेरी एक्साइटेड एंड आई एम वेरी encouraged to have you in my show today. आपकी, क्योंकि मैंने पढ़ा 2-3 जगह, आपने मुझे व्हाट्सएप फॉरवर्ड्स भी किए थे, व्हेन यू वन द अवार्ड फॉर द बेस्ट टीचर. कैसे हुआ, कहाँ से शुरुआत हुई, कैसे आप गई, कैसे आपने इस पूरे फील्ड में, रीज़न क्या था? पहली बात तो ये बताइए कि यू एंटर दैट फील्ड.
So many things to say. And I'm so excited myself. My favorite topic.
Yeah.
Actually क्या होता है कि जब मैं एजुकेशन के बारे में बोलती हूँ तो मेरा पूरा posture बदल जाता है. But today I'm like controlling myself and staying back and looking, Okay. So I had cut down all my work when I got married and had children. I have 2 sons, Anirudh and Aditya.
Yeah.
When they were in school, I saw the school system. And like I've written in my PhD, that I saw the backs breaking of the children.
Yeah.
Their hearts breaking when they were, abused by the teachers or, didn't get marks. I remember at the time I was doing, I nearly just started studying. And there was one girl in the 7th or the 8th standard. She got not good marks. Maybe she just passed. You know what she had done? She ran and she jumped out of the 4th floor of the building, school building.
My God.
And died. And I thought, this is not an age to die because you don't have marks. And it used to affect me. And I remember one day very clearly, my children's PTA meeting, the school meeting, not PTA, when you meet the teachers. One of Anirudh's very close friend was walking in front of me, and with his mother, and he was a very good footballer, and he was a good student. He had got 80% marks, and his mother says, you didn't get 90, no more football. I'm thinking, hello, what's happening? This is 8th standard, 9th standard children. And I said, no, I have to do something. I have to change the system. Ashok, I'm a believer in democracy. And I believe democracy is not just about voting.
Yeah.
कि vote करके, you got the government in, अभी government काम करेगा. No. Democracy means that every individual, every citizen of the country has to work towards making the country better, safer, for the glory of the nation. That's what I think democracy is.
Yeah.
And I believe all of us educated people have a very, very important role to play in education for our country. And I said, no, I have a role to play. That's how I started working in education. I learned about learning disabilities. I got a distinction in that. And when I was working for a clinic for learning disabled children, the owner of the clinic said that, Swaroop, teach through drama.
Okay.
And there was drama chhod ke aayi hoon, I've left acting, now I've come into education. I don't want to do that. She said, no, please do it. Ashok, my first group was one child who had mental retardation, MR.
Okay.
One was a slow learner. Slow learner means their IQ is below normal. Then learning disabled, two with attention deficit disorder, one little girl with aphasia who couldn't speak well. Now this whole group, in 1 year of working in social skills with me, changed. I was not working in education with them, not proper education, but how to talk, how to communicate, and do simple things like being in the classroom and working with friends. And I was doing it through drama. And in 1 year, they all changed. They all became so much better. That girl who had aphasia became the dadi of the class.
What is aphasia?
She had a speaking problem.
Okay.
So, the MR child became so much happy. The slow learner would tell me, ma'am, you forgot this, ma'am, you forgot that. And that's, beyond his capacity. Okay, what I was doing at that time as an actress, I was using things which I learned to train.
मैं ये पूछना चाह रहा था कि पहली बात क्लिनिक मुंबई में.
या
मुंबई में. तो ये जो बंदा है जिसने आपसे कहा कि आप ड्रामा के थ्रू इनको काम करिए, आई थिंक ये अपने आप में बहुत बड़ा एक
वो बहुत बड़ा था, पर मुझे पता नहीं था एक्चुअली. मैं तो इंस्टिंक्ट से खेल रही थी कि जो हम एक्टिंग के लिए करते हैं, लाइक अ वॉक, तो अ पर्सन हु सैड वो कैसे चलेगा, हैप्पी तो कैसे चलेगा, हाउ विल योर टोन बी, हाउ विल योर बॉडी बी, हाउ विल जो हम एक्टर्स करते हैं वो गेम्स, थिएटर गेम्स, वो सब खेलती थी उनके साथ. आई रियली डिडंट नो, एंड इन स्पाइट ऑफ नॉट नोइंग दे डिड दिस. तो मैंने सोचा अभी तो और पढ़ना पड़ेगा. तो आई रोट टू अ यूनिवर्सिटी अब्रॉड एंड टोल्ड देम कि मुझे 2-3 महीने का कोर्स दे दो. मेरे बच्चे 5th स्टैंडर्ड और 8th स्टैंडर्ड में थे. मैंने सोचा 2-3 महीने के लिए छोड़ के जा सकती हूँ, नाना नानी के साथ रहेंगे. 2 महीने तो हॉलीडेज़ के होते हैं, 1 महीना पहले कुछ खास होता नहीं है, तो आई विल फिनिश. तो मैंने एक बहुत बड़ी यूनिवर्सिटी को लिखा, एंड उन्होंने इंग्लैंड में, एंड दे रोट बैक टू मी एंड दे सेड विद अ CV लाइक योर्स प्लीज़ डू अ PhD. मैंने क्या लिखा था, एक लाइन, I'll just tell you that and then you can ask me. मैंने लिखा था कि in a part of my essay is that when Shakespeare wrote plays, he did not write it for teachers, right?
Yeah.
We're learning it as English literature in the classroom, but उन्होंने टीचर के लिए नहीं लिखा था, उन्होंने मुझ जैसी एक्ट्रेसेस के लिए लिखा था, the plays.
Yeah.
So who is better equipped to teach Shakespeare, an actress or a teacher?
Naturally, actress.
And imagine if that actor is even a teacher. How greater will that be?
Yeah.
So they loved that. And they said, please come here to study. अच्छा, मैं एक typical middle class Indian mother हूँ that grew up in the time of, don't waste foreign exchange.
Yeah.
Right? Remember that time, हाँ? तो मैंने सोचा आई एम वेस्टिंग फॉरेन एक्सचेंज फॉर माई स्टडीज़. नहीं, मेरे बच्चे अभी स्टडी करेंगे, एंड दे मे वांट टू गो अब्रॉड. सो आई सेड आई डोंट नो, बट द यूनिवर्सिटी वांटेड मी टू स्टडी देयर, and they gave me a full scholarship.
Okay.
So that was the beginning of my studies.
Paresh, being a brilliant actor and a person who is an educated person, an actor who knows the world very well and पढ़ा लिखा actor है. What was his reaction and how did he take this entire change of yours, which definitely he must have not expected that यार मैंने तो स्वरूप से शादी की थी because she was a brilliant actress, she's a good human being and all that. ये एक अलग profession में कहाँ चले गए? How did he take it?
It was like a shock for everybody.
Yeah.
Because first of all, I was a college dropout.
Okay.
When I was 18, I stopped studying. I became Miss India. I did Naram Garam and all that. तो मैंने studies छोड़ दी थी. I used to feel very guilty about it and try to do it in the etiquette. But whenever that time for the exams used to be coming, I used to be in the theatre, traveling somewhere in the country.
Yeah.
I could not do. Then after one stage, I said, छोड़ो यार, it's not in my this thing. But हमेशा मुझे वो रहता था कि I'm not even a graduate. So one day Paresh has played a big role in what I am. And it's so funny to say that, feminism, husbands, patriarchy. You think I'm so lucky that I didn't experience it at all? No, I think I'm a proper Indian woman and we have our men who support us.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I really wanted to make it very clear. तो एक बार मुझे याद है मैंने तो स्टडीज़ छोड़ दी थी. I was bringing up children and in the PTA and all that. So I was not just wasting my time. मैं इकेबाना study कर रही थी and all that. So I had a whole pile of trashy romantic novels right near my bed. And one day Paresh came back from the shoot and he saw, is this what you have fallen to? मुझे इतना बुरा लगा. I found out about the Open University and I applied for MA Literature.
Okay.
Because I was, 37 at that time. And, you could directly, even if you were an undergrad, if you were 37, that means you're an adult and, you could, do straight your master's.
Yeah.
So I was doing my master's in English literature.
Okay.
So that was one thing. He got
A
me...
dropout doing a master's in English literature.
You see, literature was my favorite subject. In any case.
Yeah.
I was very good at it. And the funny thing is, you'll die of laughter. Actually, I failed because I left my literature paper blank when I was doing my BA.
अच्छा.
क्या हुआ कि वो पेपर मुझे अब सब कुछ पता था. I was 17.
Yeah.
And I saw this paper and I said, yaar, I know everything. It's so boring to write. मैंने पूरा पेपर ब्लैंक रख के आ गई थी. And all the subjects which I didn't know, I wrote. Like Hindi, for example, मैंने literature नहीं पढ़ा था हिंदी का.
Yeah.
So I knew 50%.
Yeah.
Grammar का मैंने इतना perfect किया कि I got 45% and I passed. I wrote a 20-page composition.
20-page composition
means I knew Hindi very well. Yeah. तो मैं लिखती गई. You had that 2.5 hours or whatever. लिखती गई. जब तक उन्होंने बोला stop. I said okay fine stop. Examiner ने सोचा होगा कि यार इसको हिंदी आता है उसको 45% देना. So that's why I did literature because it was my favorite subject and I knew that I could answer it and I could study at home and do literature. So I did literature.
जो बात बहुत मुझे इंट्रिग करती है और डेफिनेटली ऑडियंस को लोगों को भी इंट्रिग करेगी कि एक ऐसी शख्स जिसके पास सब कुछ है, सक्सेस है, फैमिली, हस्बैंड इज अ सक्सेसफुल एक्टर, पर्सन हु हैज अचीव्ड सो मच, वन ऑफ द ब्रिलियंट एक्टर्स ऑफ द इंडस्ट्री, फैमिली इज वेल सेट एंड एक आराम वाली ज़िंदगी आप बिता सकते हो, कोई ऐसा मारा मारी नहीं थी. तो ऐसे कंफर्ट लेवल में होने के बावजूद यू डिसाइडेड टू गो अब्रॉड एंड डू योर PhD. पहली बात तो ये अपने आप में बहुत बड़ी बात है एंड यू डिड इट एंड यू वेंट दैट. आई वांट यू टू शेयर योर एक्सपीरियंसेस एंड पीपल टू नो हाउ यू ट्रैवल्ड, व्हाट हैपेंड देयर, कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग चीज़ें, बिकॉज ये बहुत ही बड़ा अचीवमेंट है फॉर अ पर्सन लाइक यू हु हैज़ ऑलवेज बीन सक्सेसफुल I've seen your plays on stage. I've seen your brilliant performances. So एक contented आदमी एक लाइन से हटकर एक ऐसी चीज करने जा रहा है जो उसके लिए बहुत नहीं है.
It was so, when I look back, Ashok, मैं सोचती हूँ, how did I manage it? When I got my PhD, I did not know the hour of research. Now, doing research is a very big thing. A PhD is a research, right?
Yeah.
So, a PhD has to be in a topic that's unique.
Yeah.
किसी ने नहीं किया है उस पे PhD करते हैं.
Yeah.
That subject.
Correct.
Now it's a research. So research is data collection, data analysis. And remember, I'm doing it in an English university. They're very strict about what you've written, your data, your analysis, your methodology, all that. They ask you tough questions. You have got no idea how hard I worked. But there was somebody up there, who wanted me to do it and helped me a lot. But it was tough. I remember the first time I landed in London and I got a train to Paddington. We used to have those traveller's checks.
Yeah.
So I had traveller's checks. I had very little money. And I'm waiting for the train and I went to the coffee shop.
Yeah.
And I said, I want to have a coffee. And I had to look for the cheapest coffee. Because I didn't have enough money and I had to leave money for a taxi to the university.
That is a Guju element in you.
अरे नहीं गुज्जू यार पैसे नहीं थे यार पैसे नहीं थे. I mean, I didn't have pounds enough. I had traveller's check. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Correct, yeah.
But I had to keep some for the taxi.
Yeah.
It was a Sunday. I'd probably have to buy myself lunch in Worcester. So I didn't know. So I went and bought the cheapest coffee and I said, espresso. अच्छा हमारे यहाँ Eros वगैरह में espresso you ask for used to get the cappuccino.
Cappuccino, yeah. Correct.
वहाँ espresso was that much coffee.
Yeah.
Which was dark and kadwa. And I had that and I'm like, oh my God. And then I went there and then I was okay, like I had money. But Worcester was a place where there were no Indians, no Asians.
Okay.
There was one shop 20 minutes away from the university where you could buy food. But there was nothing of our Indian food.
Yeah.
So I was so happy that I had taken a packet of moong and I'd taken rice because I used to say, kuch nahi to khichdi banaungi, that type of a thing. Now, I was there for 1 month. That one big bread would have lasted me a year and got over, I mean, you understand what I mean. So, and pura shopping karke 20 minutes walk back with 2-3 kilos.
Yeah.
I used to sit over there and say, ye main kya kar rahi hu? Why am I doing this? Why am I struggling so much, staying in these halls, one chota sa room, cooking in that kitchen. I was a 38-year-old girl with kids, a family, and I was, in Ye Jo Hai Zindagi, I'd become the sweetheart of India.
Yeah. Correct.
I'm thinking, what am I doing? Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
But my love, what really drove me was the love for the children of my country.
Yeah.
I really wanted to do something. Instinct told me that I'm going towards the right thing. Today I can tell you I've studied the right thing, learned the right thing, and I know that I am a change maker.
Yeah.
The title of my thesis is The Role of Drama in Enhancing Life Skills in Children with Learning Disabilities in a School in Mumbai.
बाप रे.
So I was teaching in Mumbai.
सुन के डर गए. टेंशन हो गई मतलब सुनने के बाद इतना भारी भरकम.
परेश यही कहता है अगर परेश PhD पढ़ो तो he says yes, you know what, I'll sit in the park in London and I'll open your theses and read it.
Then what happened?
So then I was talking about the studies there and I had a great time. I'd done all my data collection in India. So I was teaching in India because I'd very clearly told them that I will not teach in England. I don't want to change the system of England. So I don't want to study England. I want to study India.
Yeah.
And I want to change the system in India.
Yeah.
So they agreed. They said, do whatever you want. So I didn't do a comparative study.
Yeah.
I did an action research. That is, I taught in India, collected data in India, Only it was an English degree.
What was that research exactly? What did it say? What was the integrities of that
Okay, so
entire subject here?
there are two things.
Yeah.
When at that time and till now and forever, life skills is very important.
Yeah.
So life skills is a जीवन कौशल जो हमारे शास्त्र में है, जो हमारे गीता में है, सब कुछ में है, but it's not given a name.
Yeah.
WHO gave it a name in the early 90s. These are skills that you need for everyday life to make it good,
Okay.
to solve problems, and to overcome hurdles of everyday life so that you can lead a healthy, mentally healthy life. These skills are things like communication, effective communication, skills of empathy, problem solving, decision making. Do you know something? We are the worst decision makers. So you actually have to learn decision making to be able to make good decisions.
Okay.
Understanding and managing emotions, creative thinking, critical thinking. तो ये सब life skills है. So this is what I learned.
Okay.
Life skills are something that can help you overcome the problems of everyday life. If that girl who jumped out of the window had enhanced life skills, she would have not made such a bad decision. When we go into substance abuse, I'm going to the height, go to substance abuse, that's a bad decision. Violence is a bad decision. Lack of empathy, lack of managing your emotions, lack of communication skills leads to this. Low self-esteem. All these things lead to... So life skills are something which everybody needs at all stages of your life, बच्चे से लेके older तक. Whether you're well, whether you're unwell, you're rich, you're poor, you got a job, you don't have a job, everybody. These are these fantastic skills. So that is what I learned.
Discontent among couples, among friends, youths, you can see around lot of discontentment. So you think the marriage is failing, relationships failing, divorces in every 3 months, 6 months.
Yes.
ये जो relationships का जो
Suicides.
Suicides. So do you think this education, this study, such people come to you, or have you had any experiences with people in institutions where you have addressed them or you have met them or something like that?
I'll tell you some which will really give you goosebumps. Is I was teaching in Gujarat, the Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalaya. Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalaya, the KGBVs, are schools and institutions set up for the most socially and economically backward girls of our country.
Okay.
So, they have a hostel and education facilities given by the government, free.
Okay.
Now, their teachers themselves are like this even, So, I was training the teachers. And I was doing a thing in which I was teaching them for about 10 days and I'd given them 6 months to work on it.
Okay.
Then we were going to meet again after 6 months.
Okay.
When I met them after 6 months, I asked them, when was it that you remembered me? Or life skills? You know what one girl told me? One teacher. She said, before I continue, I'll tell you one thing about life skills. Is that if you teach life skills, your life skills become better too. Because without good life skills, like if I don't have good communication skills, how will I teach it?
Yeah, correct.
If I can't manage my emotions, how will I teach it?
Correct.
While I teach it, I learn to manage mine.
Correct.
You understand?
Correct. क्योंकि खुद आप में वो ताकत नहीं है, वो क्षमता नहीं है, तो आप दूसरों को कैसे सिखाओगे?
Exactly. And then when you're teaching them कि देखो, anger management ऐसा होता है, तो तुम में भी तो असर हो रही है.
Correct. अब डांट के आप anger management नहीं सिखा सकते हो.
Right. Exactly.
Correct.
So I asked them. So one of the teachers told me, ma'am, my father was in the ICU with a heart problem. And it was, we were really going very frustrated. And my only brother, he has got a bit of a mental problem. So he was being very difficult to handle. And I was taking care of my father and the house and my brother and everything. And one day I thought, I just want to end it. And I went to the Panwala and I bought a blade. And I reached home.
Okay.
And I opened the blade. And when I opened the blade packet, I remembered you and I remembered life skills. And I put it away.
What an achievement.
She says, I opened my diary in which you had made me write all these things. And then I said, no, I can't do this. I have to, like I cannot give up hope.
Yeah.
I have to find a way to do a better problem solving and manage my emotions. Another one told me कि 3:30 बज गए थे. मुझे पता है घर पे कोई नहीं होगा 3:30 बजे. मैं जल्दी जल्दी ऑफिस बंद करके घर गई. And when I reached home, I took a dupatta, I stood on the chair. And ma'am, I remembered you. And I got down and I sat down and I cried so much that day, but I didn't kill myself.
ऐसे तो बहुत सारे उदाहरण होंगे आपके पास.
God, so many. And so many success stories of girls too. I want to share that with you.
Yeah.
So I taught them problem solving and decision making and how to manage emotions and communications, which you have to do every day. Not in, like your college or, in a meeting.
Yeah.
Communicate with your father.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one girl said that, my mom's not living. And my father, father's sister came home, my bua.
Yeah.
And she said, abhi iska abhyas band karo, uski shadi kara do. So my father, has to listen to the women and all that, ghar ki.
Correct.
After she went, she said, I sat down with my father. And I did everything you taught me. All the communication skills, all the problem solving, all the decision making. And I sat and I talked with him and I tried to convince him. And, I convinced him, ma'am, today I'm applying for medicine.
My God.
And these are poor girls.
Yeah.
Where? Jam Khambolia. I bet you've never even heard of that place. It's a little village away from Jamnagar.
It's like a village called Jhumri Talaiya.
Yeah, I mean, seriously,
we don't know whether it
such
exists or not.
chote villages.
I wanted to share those experiences of yours when we sat together and spoke about it. You mentioned certain experiences of yours in tribal areas. जब आप tribal areas में गए, you sat with those tribal girls and women and those people and you changed their lives. Some incidences of that kind.
कहाँ से कहाँ we are going all over. It's so lovely. So that was Gujarat.
Yeah.
Gujarat ka, things became a little less, and I finished projects there.
Yeah.
And then I started doing a project in Maharashtra. And the education secretary says, इतना काम करना है ना, इसको नंदुरबार भेजो.
अच्छा.
Now Nandurbar is touching Maharashtra, Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh.
Yeah.
It's center India.
Was this out of vengeance or?
No, not vengeance.
Okay.
But इतना काम करना है तो करो ना काम.
अच्छा.
Means इतना means do work. Yeah,
कुछ करके दिखाओ.
हाँ, कुछ करके दिखाओ. So work with the tribals in Nandurbar. And I said, okay, 8 hours by car to Shada.
Yeah.
2 hours on a single ghat to Toranmal.
Okay.
That's where I used to go to teach
Okay.
the tribal children. The tribal children, the story is totally different. The tribal teachers, I met the most wonderful teachers there. Means who wants to go to teach there? These teachers actually asked to go to teach there.
Yeah.
But they have their ego. They said, ये मुंबई से आके
Okay.
हमें क्या सिखाएगी? तो हम क्या करते हैं? उसको बुलाते, आने दो उसको. उसके साथ तस्वीर खींचेंगे,
तो फिल्म की
फोटो
स्क्रिप्ट है।
खींचेंगे. हाँ, सच में फोटो खींचेंगे और फिर
एक्टर से तो फोटो खिंचवा के निकल जाएगी.
हाँ, फिर भगा देंगे. उससे क्या सीखना है? वो क्या हमें सिखाएगी? I went there. I sat on the floor. First thing I told them, you have to love your children. So they were stunned. Said, your class has to be fun. सब कुछ छोड़ो, it has to be fun. Saying, this is interesting. Now when I do a workshop,
Yeah.
I always ask them, one part I teach them, the other part I work with children.
Yeah.
So I ask them, bring your students. For 1 hour, I will work with them and I'll show you how to work with children. That they didn't like. ये आएगी, हमें सिखाएगी कि हमारे बच्चों के साथ. So you know what they did? They got the worst children. I mean, children who don't want to talk, who don't want to do things,
Badmash
and
bachche.
either badmash or too introvert.
Yeah.
Like there was one girl who had come since about 20 days, new
Yeah.
girl in school.
Yeah.
Since 20 days, she had not opened her mouth. Nobody knew her name because she just won't talk. Usko leke aate hain. Let's see if she can get her to do something. That girl didn't come that day. You know what the teachers did? They drove 1 hour by bike. They got her and came. They didn't tell me. They told me afterwards.
Yeah.
Now tribal children ki I'm doing, let's do animal walk, elephant. Now I realize that my tribal bachas don't know elephant.
Yeah.
So I have to do the animals they know. So I did dog, I did cat,
Okay.
I did snake.
Achha.
So there was me on the ground, snake, and all of them have become snakes.
Okay.
So, that's the level you go to with the children. You have to be with them.
Yeah.
Then we made a circle. And I was holding their hand and I said, a simple game. Now, first of all, communicating with them was difficult because they didn't
Language.
speak Marathi. Their tribal language is a mixture of Gujarati and Marathi.
Okay.
बट मैं कर रही थी कुछ भी तो चलो नाम बोलते हैं माय नेम इज़ स्वरूप और मुझे पोरन पोड़ी आवड़ते
Okay.
सो इट्स ओके सो लाइक like that, what do you like, what you don't like. And when that girl, she was standing near me on this side,
Yeah.
full circle hoke aaya, and she put her head down. Matsa now Hema, hey. My name is Hema.
Okay.
She said it so softly. And her teachers were stunned because she had not told them the name, but she told me the name. After the children went, they asked, "Ma'am, ek cheez puchna hai. How did you get her to talk to you?" So I said, "You remember she held my hand? I passed love."
क्या बात.
Then from that day they told me that they just fell in love with me.
Okay.
And they said, ये teacher जो कुछ भी कहेगी हम करेंगे. And you know what? We got 500 children back to school in the tribal area.
My God.
And tribal area में education का इतना respect नहीं है. You know why? There is no hoardings, there's nothing written. Books, some of the mothers jalao the books to light the fire to cook.
My God.
So there's nothing there. And वो चाहत भी नहीं है कि पढ़ें. जैसे हमारे street kids here, they see boards, they see signs.
Reference points बहुत हैं.
They want to. अभी इस tribal area में एक board नहीं, there's no hoarding.
Yeah.
There's no newspaper, there's no telephone, there's no internet. What is the reason to learn? So you have to find the reason for them to learn.
स्वरूप एक बात बता मेरे को कि इतना सब करने के बाद you have gone against all kind of situations and you need a lot of energy, you need a lot of conviction to do all this. Don't you think somewhere at the back of the mind, you as an achiever, you must be thinking that the system has failed you, not being with you in the way they should have been, where we have a child in a village, in a tribal village, who has not spoken, who has no reference, and first time she's talking to you and telling her name. तो इसको इसमें success achieve करने के लिए you need a solid backing. Did you get that kind of a support, that kind of a backing, or you became you became
I call myself a lone wolf.
Or got into the politics of the system? I want to know from you is that how did the system stand by you, help you, or didn't help you, and or you feel that there has to be a major change in the attitude of the system. सिस्टम में सब आते हैं, ब्यूरोक्रेट्स आते हैं, पॉलिटिशियंस आते हैं, आपके सीनियर्स आते हैं, आपके टीचर्स आते हैं, आपके प्रोफेसर्स आते हैं, उसके आसपास जितने भी लोग हैं.
This is a very, very tricky question. Very complicated. Let me tell you a story and you find your answer. We could do that.
Yeah, sure.
Because there's really no
No,
yes.
we are not trying to run down anything.
No, we are not running down anything.
Yeah.
There's no yes, no.
Yeah.
But there are interesting experiences. When I came to India after studies, I wanted to change the system. And I said, no, I'd written a line in my PhD.
Sorry, you know why I'm asking you this is because this is a very unique, आपने बहुत यूनिक रास्ता अपनाया है चेंज लाने के लिए. तो जब नई कोई चीज़ आती है तो उसका अपोजिशन बहुत होता है और पूरी कोशिश की जाती है कि ये फेल हो सिस्टम.
Opposition भी होता है, ignore भी बहुत होता है. There are things I will tell you.
Yeah.
Like, so when I came, first of all in my PhD, I've written a line which said, I'm going to change the lives of all the children of my country. और मुझे पता है, that day, Saraswati Ma heard me and she said, Tathastu, go babes, success is yours.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to do what I've been able to do.
Yeah.
Whether the world knows I'm successful or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know that the people I have touched have changed.
Yeah.
So I started, doing workshops.
Yeah.
And I've done workshops from LOC Uri to Madurai.
Oh.
Literally LOC Uri I did for the army teachers, army schools. It was fantastic. That was 2006, 2007.
Okay.
After the earthquake in
Okay,
Uri.
yeah.
I walked in those small schools in the villages
Yeah,
and, means up in the mountains.
Yeah.
From there you could see the border, literally there.
Yeah.
But nobody came back to me. Everybody, I gave them my telephone number, I gave them an address, and I said, write to me when you've done something. Yeah. Nobody wrote back. And I knew that kuch to karna padega. When I was thinking about that, then I wrote letters to Maharashtra, Gujarat ministers, education ministers, education secretaries, NCRT, NCT, union ministers, everybody.
Okay.
I still have a folder with those letters.
Okay.
When I said I know something beautiful, I want to share it with you.
Sorry.
Then at that time, I saw in the newspaper on the 8th, 9th, 10th page of Times of India, one chota sa column, 1 inch by 1 column, that the CM of Gujarat is going to start a children's university.
Okay.
And I distinctly remember it was a Thursday when I wrote to him. On Friday morning, I got a call from his office and said that the CM will see you in Gandhinagar. Please come on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. Went on Wednesday to meet him. He is so perfect. Before I met him, he had called his education secretaries to meet me. And we had a meeting before I met him.
Yeah.
I met the education secretaries. And both of them are my friends now, still, after all these years, 2007 till now.
Okay.
One was to become the national level pay education secretary, Anita Karwal.
Okay.
Fabulous women. And then I met him. And I had a long conversation with him. And he said, Chalo, Gujarat mein kaam karo. Because I know, told somebody, okay, why do these people come, from big cities, big stars?
Yeah.
School shuru karenge kya? This one will come, she'll ask for land to start a school. And I said, sir, I want to work with the government school teachers. I want to train them. And he was so surprised that he didn't think I would want to do that. So he supported me. And I did 2 years over there. But over there, even with the GCRT, I had a great problem. Because, the joke was, ये खाती भी नहीं है, खाने भी नहीं देती है. उसको खाने की चिंता नहीं, पीने की चिंता नहीं. She's only worried about her work.
Yeah.
And they didn't like it. And they stopped my program. And then I went to him and I said, sir, ये बंद कर दिया. Then we started it again. Then the second year again. Then I said, yeah, I don't want to keep going to the chief minister and tell him, sir, what's happening? But then by that time, I got Save the Children. They wanted me to work. And it's good that it happened. Because then Save the Children wanted me to work with the children of the cotton field.
Okay.
In Maharashtra and Gujarat.
Okay.
Who had never been in school.
My God.
So I worked with children who have not been to school.
Where in Maharashtra?
Amravati.
Okay.
So mainly Amravati. And then, of course, later on, I'll tell you that I've worked in all the sensitive districts of Maharashtra. So, Amravati and the cotton fields of Gujarat.
Yeah.
I worked with children who were out of school. I mean, not in school, to get them to school.
Okay.
वो खत्म हो गया. Then I did a very big program with UNICEF for adolescent girls in Gujarat, teaching them life skills. वो खत्म हो गया, and I did this when the minister sent me to Nandurbar. उसके बाद he let me work in Gadchiroli, Latur, Osmanabad, all the sensitive districts of Maharashtra.
Fantastic.
So over there I've taught. Now you are asking me whether I got support or not.
Yeah.
One great support I got was the CM of Gujarat at that time.
Yeah.
And then government in Maharashtra,
Yeah.
I got support from them.
Yeah.
Not because I'm not in any political party,
Yeah.
but somehow other people never listened. I don't know why.
Yeah.
The other thing, it was very interesting. Before the minister in Maharashtra asked me to work in Nandurbar, 1.5 years back, before that, I'd gone to the education secretary and I told him I want to do life skills. And this is my fantastic program, 100% success rate.
Okay.
It's never failed.
Okay.
So he said, great, how much will it cost? And I said, it doesn't cost anything. Because this is something I forgot to tell you. Is when I started working, my dearest husband said कि स्वरूप हमारे पास बहुत है. इस काम के लिए पैसा मत लेना.
Fantastic.
So all my work in education I only do for free. It doesn't matter if it's a poor school or a rich school, but it's a standard thing. That education के लिए मैं पैसा नहीं charge करूँगी. And I think कलयुग में तो यही होना चाहिए.
Superb.
Education, one of your biggest way to earn good karma is by giving education for free. I seriously believe it.
Fantastic.
And I'm glad my husband helped me do that. So I don't charge. So I told him, sir, मैं तो free में काम करती हूँ. You know, 1.5, 2 years later, I met him in the minister's office because the minister called him. He was still the education secretary.
Yeah.
And he says, she's doing this life skill program in Nandurbar. He's saying, आप तो 2 साल पहले मेरी ऑफिस में आई थी. मैंने कैसे तुम्हारा फाइल साइड में रख दिया? I mean, हद है यार. Can you imagine? he had the
फाइल
guts-
साइड में रख दिया.
फाइल साइड में रख दिया. You think they cared? You know, when I did my PhD, the mental health problem in our country for children, 1 in 7 children. You know what it is now? 1 in 3. Life skills can make a difference. Don't you think we should be doing it?
This should be in every school, every college, every institution.
Every school, every college,
every place.
everywhere it should be. It should be in offices, it should be in factories. You know, I'm one of the only teachers who teaches from KG to PG. That means from kindergarten to postgraduate.
My God.
So I teach at Sardar Patel University in Vallabh Vidyanagar, Anand,
Yeah.
in Gujarat. And there I teach masters in social work. My students have done a huge project with the Flipkart work delivery boys, teaching them communication skills. They've done a fabulous program in remand homes. You know, the superintendent of the remand home has called them back and said that, you know, we could not communicate with these boys, you all have done it. These are young kids of 20 years old who've learnt life skills as a part of their social work course. This is the thing that can change us. Because you need it for everything.
But you know what is very unique, Swaroop, is that you used drama and performing arts to get the skill out of that person. So what is more interesting is that it's not, you know, board पे लिख दिया आपने 2 + 2 is equal to 4, 4 + 2 is equal to 6, geometry, algebra, सब that entire way. Drama एक ऐसी चीज़ है कि everybody would like to see, everybody would like to identify. But वो that creation of this entire art through drama, I think that is very intriguing and interesting. That he कैसे manage किया, वो कैसे हुआ?
Again, this is like life skills, creative thinking skills and critical thinking, which go together. But you know what is the height of creativity? Is not excelling in your field, but using your field's domain knowledge in another field. So I'm using using performing arts to teach normal subjects. I mean, school subjects.
Yeah.
And that has helped a lot because it's there in our National Curriculum Framework, SE, School Education 2023, where we have to start teaching kids using art. But drama is the best because drama is experiential. And, see, the thing is, I'll tell you one very cute thing. An experience is not learning.
Yeah.
Reflection on experience is learning. Now, drama is helping you reflect on your experience.
Yeah.
Because you're doing it in the classroom.
Yeah.
And then you're talking about it and you're reflecting on it and all that. So this is the best way to learn. And I'm really lucky that I could do that because that's the other thing I do. I do art integration for school subjects.
Okay.
So that means
Draw, paint, and
how to use art to teach, say, mathematics.
Yeah.
How to use art to teach science. Like I just did one lesson.
Yeah.
I divided the class into 4 groups.
Yeah.
And I told them we're going to do the water cycle. And I explained about the water cycle. And then I gave them pieces of music.
Okay.
Like I gave them a piece on the tabla.
Okay.
Then I gave them a piece on santoor. Then I gave them a piece which is Megh Malar.
Superb.
Then I gave them Purya Dhanashri. ऐसे करके I gave them piece, classical Indian music, and told them now you set your dance on that. And that is how evaporation happens, condensation happens. Then Megh is the rain. Purya Dhanashri is talking about collection. So you use this to learn. And you're doing pure science, okay?
Yeah.
It's not that you're doing arts and science on the side. No, you're doing pure science with an art. And our country, we are blessed. We have over 2,600 plus arts and crafts. Now all this, if we can use it for our children, their vocation, their education, हम कहाँ से कहाँ पहुँच जाएंगे? All these talk of employment and this, that, all of it will go. Because this is a vocation, every time it's not to go and work in a factory.
Yeah.
I don't have to start a factory. I can have entrepreneurs. I have little, young units, small, young children in units who are creating pottery, who are doing weaving, who are doing, my community, my Bhatia community, the women don't go to work.
Yeah.
So when the husbands go to work, the women are at home.
Yeah.
They sit and do the kachi embroidery. Okay?
Okay.
So they embroider saris. And, that time it was only saris. Salwar kameez to Gujarat ka nahi tha.
Correct.
So they would sit at home, from 10 to about 4:30 they would do embroidery.
Okay.
4 o'clock they would pack up all that, chai vai pee ke, market jaake, sabzi wabzi like ke aake, khana paka ke, be ready for the husbands, the dinner and all that.
Yeah.
But that was a supplementary income. They helped the family by doing these pieces of embroidery.
Okay.
Now what is that, you tell me?
Skill.
Skill, and the woman is employed.
Yeah.
She's self-employed.
Yeah.
And the amount of, I've seen that, I've gone to their houses, they have these small little houses, 1 BHK or not even 1 BHK, one room hall, 1 room kitchen houses.
Yeah.
And so beautifully they're embroidering saris for jo order pe mili hai.
Yeah.
So I'm just giving you one example. There are so many like that.
Yeah.
Everything is not about making a factory. It's not about going to office. Not about a doctor, an engineer. There are so many. And if these arts are not learned, they will die.
Yeah.
It's very complex problem. But it can be solved, It all has to start in school.
Swaroop, you have been till now talking about restlessness and peace amongst people. That's why they need this life skills so that their life becomes easy and successful. And you spoke about suicide also. कोटा में जैसे बहुत सारे बच्चों ने सुसाइड किया और किए जा रहे हैं, और खाली कोटा में नहीं, आप पूरे देश विदेश में, देश में आप देख लीजिए, बहुत सारी चीज़ें बाहर नहीं आती हैं. रीज़न क्या है? एक तो ये मैं जानना चाहता हूँ कि वो क्यों ऐसा होता है. वो रेस्टलेसनेस किस चीज़ की रेस्टलेसनेस है? वो सक्सेस की है या अचीवमेंट की है, या पेरेंट्स का प्रेशर है उनके ऊपर कि मुझे तो तेरी 99% चाहिए चाहिए, मुझे तू इंजीनियर बनना ही चाहिए, तेरे को एक्ट्रेस बनना ही है, तेरे को एक्टर बनना ही है, तेरे को तो जो जो पेरेंट्स का जो फेलियर है वो अपने बच्चों में जो है वो देखना चाहते हैं. हाउ डू यू हैंडल सच discontent and restlessness amongst youngsters, youths, and not only youngsters, it's also amongst elderly people.
So, what is really missing is holistic education. हमारा education holistic था, भारतीय education. Sadly, because of the years of colonialization, Islamic and British, it kind of got dissolved, it got lost, we lost our way. I don't want to get into all that. But, ultimately, modern Indian education was not holistic. Let me explain to you.
Yeah.
Before, everything was about intelligence. How intelligent are you?
Yeah.
So it was IQ, IQ, IQ.
Yeah.
Then, big business houses like education institutions like Harvard's and all, business schools, realized that for the worker to work well, they have to be able to handle their emotions and all. So it became EQ. Then there is a thing like ADDH and lack of concentration, and how well the worker can work, physically. In the office, in the factories, everywhere, after the wars.
Yeah.
Then it became PQ, physical quotient.
Oh.
Yeah. I told you in the early 90s, life skills came.
Yeah.
Social quotient became important. So a part of life skill was even your EQ and even your SQ, social quotient. But our education has something better than that. It has a thing called AQ and SQ.
What is that?
AQ is aesthetic quotient. Okay. Aesthetic is looking at the beauty in art. Not just art, but the beauty in art. Okay. The beauty of the weave. You must have laughed inside when I told you about the Kachhi Bharat, the beautiful embroidery of Kutch.
Yeah.
ठीक है यार.
Yeah.
No, you see it, it's so beautiful. Yeah. So that is it. Or you get up in the morning and you see the sun and you say, thank you, God, for this beautiful sun. Yeah. Look at the sun rise. Aesthetic quotient. Yeah. And one of the most important thing, which is the spiritual quotient, SQ. Something which we don't want to address.
Yeah.
Now, life skill is about all this. WHO has put understanding emotions, coping with stress and coping with emotions, and understand self-awareness and creative thinking and critical thinking and communication. But if you break them all down, you will realize that this is what it's all about. Yeah. Then they have one very important thing, which very truthfully I did not have the guts to address when I did my PhD. Yeah. But after years of working, now I'm addressing it, and I'm really happy that I'm bold enough to say SQ is important.
Fantastic. Yeah.
They had a thing which they had, and then they took it out even. Yeah. Interpersonal skills and intrapersonal skills. Interpersonal skills, communication, and intrapersonal skills.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
That is life skill. When you can address these skills, you will, with help maybe or without help, postpone that act of killing yourself.
Yeah.
Spiritual, if they just did our dharma and you followed it, you ask me, why do I do this? I believe in the Bhagavad Gita saying which says, tum apna kaam karo.
Yeah.
You don't bother about your success and failure. That is mine.
Yeah.
And you can say that it's you're saying this, but I am a testimony to that.
Yeah.
25 years I've been working. I don't have one award in my name. I don't have an institution which I'm working for. I'm working on my own, paying my own money, eating my own food. Like when I went to Nandurbar, I used to take my food and go.
Yeah.
Because I could not eat the tribal food. I did not tell them कि नहीं आप कुछ भी करो मेरे लिए खाना लेके आओ. No. Because I believe that is my dharmic quotient, which is so superb, you know. DQ. Sorry, I said SPQ, I meant DQ.
Yeah.
So it's IQ, EQ, PQ, social quotient, SQ, AQ, and DQ.
Okay.
And it's the truth. Every day, before every workshop, before any lecture of mine, I go to the mandir and I say, it's your work that I'm doing.
You have been assigned to do this.
I've been assigned to do it. You know, even today, the people who are listening, I would like to tell them that you may think this is frivolous. You may think, is she joking? But sit by yourself, introspect, and say, am I right or am I wrong? Apna karm karo. Don't worry about that success. And I am a testimony to that. I really have done it. And I have worked very hard.
I'm sure after this podcast, people, when they'll come to know your achievements and what you are exactly, they realize that why we have not known this area of yours or this side of yours and what all you have been doing for people and for the people who really need it. Why has media been so silent about your achievements? And I'm being very honest. You know, what media needs today is a person who's a known person to do something different. I've been seeing, because I've been working on environment also, कि बहुत सारे ऐसे एक्टिविस्ट यहाँ घूमते हैं, बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग हैं जो किसी इशू को एक बहुत ही फ्रिवलेसली हैंडल करके सब जगह छपे होते हैं. यहाँ तो आप हो जो ग्राउंड लेवल पे आपने काम किया, आपने इतनी अचीवमेंट्स नहीं है, इतना कुछ किया आपने. एक पॉडकास्ट में सारी चीज़ें बाहर नहीं आ सकती. मुझे लगता है कि 15-20 दिन 25 दिन 6 महीने लगेंगे समझने के लिए कि व्हाट ऑल यू हैव डन, यू नो, बिकॉज यू ऑल्सो हैव टू रिमेंबर व्हाट ऑल यू हैव बीन डन. व्हाई यू थिंक यू आर अ नोन पर्सन, यू आर अ सेलिब्रिटी, जो चीज़ें मीडिया के लिए फिट होती हैं कि भैया अगर हम इनके बारे में लिखेंगे तो लोग पढ़ेंगे और हमारी टीआरपी बढ़ेगी और हमारा पेपर ज़्यादा बिकेगा या हमारा सोशल मीडिया ज़्यादा चलेगा. Why do you think that the media has not responded to you or not written about you, and why the world doesn't know till now that this all you have been? मैं तो इसलिए जानता हूँ because I've been in touch and I've been reading about you on a very personal.
I'll catch you and tell you, Ashok, suno.
Is it that you have been on a very low profile thing, or you didn't want to be spoken much about it or something like that?
No, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. Is that the press doesn't want to write about this. Nobody wants to write about a teacher. Today you would rather write about what they call an influencer, who's, you know, wearing this makeup or this dress, and this dress took so many days to make, and this, that, and, you know, they would rather write that. You know, remember you asked me what makes you sad?
Yeah.
This is what makes me sad. Nobody wants to talk about the achievement of the teacher. And you know what is so sad about it? What is really sad? Yeah. It's that the teacher who makes you. At the most, people will talk of teachers of higher education. Nobody talks of the primary school teacher, but that's where your education starts. How many people will you say want to become teachers? You know, teachers get paid well.
Yeah.
In the 7th pay commission.
Yeah.
If you're a government teacher, you're done for life.
Yeah.
You know the scams that have happened in different states.
Yeah.
Why do you think it happens?
Yeah.
Because of the pay.
Yeah.
And afterwards, you're going to get it forever, you know. So it's not the money.
You know, Swaroop, मैं क्यों पूछ रहा हूँ? Because you have been a person who has seen glamour. You're a glamorous. You were Miss India. I'll come to that later on. तो सब जगह छपी हैं, आपने अखबारों में छपे हैं वो. You have been on the ramps, you have been in the fashion shows, you have been on the screens, big screens, small screens. आपने वो चकाचौंध वाली जिंदगी भी देखी है, सब देखा है आपने, तालियां देखी है, मुकुट देखा है, सब देखा हुआ है, तो वो सब लिखा जाता है, वो सब वो एरिया आपका लोगों को पता है, तो कहीं ना कहीं अंदर से तकलीफ तो होती होगी ना. यू सेड आई फील वेरी सैड अबाउट इट व्हेन आई एम डूइंग समथिंग व्हिच इज सो कंटेंट ओरिएंटेड, व्हिच इज सच अ contribution to the society, to the people, to the nation building. You are basically building up a nation. Right. By teaching skill to kids. कल का नेशन का फ्यूचर तो यही है ना, जिसको आप सिखा रहे हो. तो what is there some problem in the society or in the thinking of the media, especially that journalism which they call themselves as a fourth estate. आज तो आसान है लोगों को पता चला, बिकॉज सोशल मीडिया उस जमाने में नहीं था, सोशल मीडिया भी है, छोटी छोटी चीज़ों के बारे में लोगों को पता होता है. तो व्हाट इज दैट रीजन दैट व्हाई आई एम नॉट सीइंग Swaroop Sampat's or the country or the people are not seeing what is Swaroop Sampat doing to the society?
You know, it was so sad that when I was the top 10 teachers of the world, 78 countries, over 2,000 nominations.
Yeah.
And it is not just like that. You know, we had to submit papers and proofs of what we have done, photographs of what we have
Imagine
done.
top 10 may say you are the best
of the world. Okay?
World, you are
Yes.
a teacher,
Yeah.
and this country is not aware of this. Yeah.
They didn't want to write about it. We literally, there's a friend of mine who's in education, and you know, he helps runs institutes and all. He would literally tell the, you know, people, the journalists from all the top newspapers, write about her. But they wouldn't, first of all, want to write about it for free.
Yeah.
Second thing is, no, yeah, you know, don't know if you want to write about this story. So they actually don't want to write about teachers. They don't want to write about it unless it's paid. If they're getting paid, they will write about it. If they're not getting paid, they're not writing about it, which I think is disgusting. And another sad thing about me is that initially I faced it a lot. She's an actress. How can she have a PhD?
Yeah.
She's beautiful. How can she be intelligent?
Yeah.
Hello. You know, stop stereotyping. You know. So, ek to wo to khatam hua, and I got over that, and I said, no, forget it.
Actually, that is that SQ ka quotient in you, which has relaxed you.
Yeah. Then you said, let it be. Then nobody wants to write about it. Or they just want to spread things in a very disgusting way. For example, I want to tell you, and I'm saying this, you know, with great knowledge and information, our National Education Policy 2020 is one of the greatest policies. Our National Curriculum Framework School Education 2023 is one of the best frameworks. But criticize ही करेंगे, you know, I mean, they will run it down, not criticize it. Critique it well, sure. Don't run down things. So either negative लिखना है या नहीं लिखना है. That's sad. And that's how it is.
Because
there's no answer for it. Why does it happen? It's no money in it. Teaching में क्या glamour? There's no gossip in it. There was one case of that teacher who supported some Palestinian thing and all that, and the people wrote about it and they blew it up. How many good, successful teachers' work have you written about? And it's not that people don't want to know. A lot of people want to know because their children are studying, their grandchildren are studying. People do want to know.
Let's come to something lighter now.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm sure people must be wanting to know about it. How did Miss India happen?
Miss India happened.
How did it happen?
So I love being photographed, okay?
Yeah.
I mean,
I know
like if the camera is there, I'm ready. All set.
Yeah.
And it's always been like that, even when I was a kid. So I was already a model because I love posing.
Yeah.
And I'd already done the Femina cover, in fact.
Okay.
And the editor said, you know, apply for the Miss India, fill up the form. No, I don't want to do. I didn't have that much himmat. I did not have so much desire. Because to be known, to be there in the limelight is nothing which I like. In fact, sometimes I would underdress for years, there are times when, Ashok, you would not believe it. Even today, I can still go in a public bus and people won't recognize me. Because I would so underdress and I would, look like a total mess up and, like, ऐसी लगती है पर नहीं है, type of thing.
Yeah.
So I was a little that way, a little shy introvert.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to be a Miss India. But my dad filled up the form. And he said, nahi, nahi. And I went and I became Miss India. And that's history.
How did it feel when the crown was
Oh
put
God,
on you?
it's a beautiful feeling. It was fantastic. It was in the Shanmukhanand Hall.
Okay.
And there was a fashion show, a Femina fashion show and the Femina Miss India.
Yeah.
I think the Times of India group.
Yeah.
And that time, I keep showing off now and saying, but there was only one Miss India in our time. Not like Miss India World, Miss India Universe, Miss India this, Miss India. Only one Miss India.
And there can be only one small.
The arrogant me.
Swaroop, I know it. I used to meet him also. Your father, Bachubai, was one of the stalwarts of Gujarati theatre.
Yes.
I want you to talk about him, about his plays, about his entire achievement as far as giving that kind of a success to Gujarati theatre.
First of all, I can say that whatever I am is because of him. He was an incredibly intelligent, artistic person. He was the chief producer of the Indian National Theatre.
Yeah.
You know something? He didn't make their career, but he was at the beginning of Sanjeev Kumar and Rajesh Khanna's career.
Yeah.
Deena Ben too, Deena Pathak. All of them, worked with that as young boys. I mean, college going people. And he was the chief producer. They made Gujarati plays, Hindi plays, Marathi plays. They made this fantastic play called Thief Ul Rani based on Pygmalion and My Fair Lady and Santu Rangili.
Yeah.
So he was a person who loved theatre, loved films. In fact, one of Yash
He was a real
Chopra's-
showman, huh?
Yeah.
Personality was
proper
fantastic.
showman.
Talker.
Yash's
to wear such
film
good
was made
clothes.
from his play,
Which one is this?
Ittefaq.
Yeah, okay.
Is made from his play. And it was a play called Dhummas.
Okay.
And that time they were going to release Aadmi or Insan and there was a problem. And they had to quickly make a film. And Yashji had called up Dad and said, give me a play to convert into a film. And Dad said, come and see my play tonight. And he saw Dhummas and for Monday they started Ittefaq.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so he knew everybody and, they used to do theatrical service for Filmfare and Femina and everybody. So, and as the chief producer, he was in charge of everything.
Your mom was a...
My mom was a surgical oncologist,
Yeah.
a university topper. Yeah. And she was really shocked when I left my paper blank.
I was one of
Likhna hota hai.
I was one of her favorites, I remember.
I know.
She's always...
really like you so
yeah,
much,
yeah,
yes. So she... but she was the one who told me to go into arts. Because she was a Kathak dancer and a painter. And she says, medicine mein aake sab kuch chhut gaya. So she says, don't leave your art. Concentrate on that. And that's how I left. I wanted to do medicine.
Okay.
But I didn't apply for science. I didn't apply for medicine because of her. But I'm happy.
How did the first film happen?
So it was...
Rishikesh. You have been so fortunate to work with Rishikesh Mukherjee. He's got to us.
It was...
Getting an opportunity, your first film with Rishikesh Mukherjee was an achievement by itself. How did that happen?
Yes. So it happened together. In fact, it was the day after I became Miss India, there was a function.
Yeah.
And Yashji was there. And he came on stage. And then he found out that I'm Bachu Sampat's daughter.
Okay.
And he immediately offered me a film.
Okay.
Nakhuda. I mean, he didn't offer me Nakhuda at that time. Sorry, it was Sawal which I did first.
Sawal, okay, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Sawal, and the same day Rishida offered me Naram Garam.
Okay.
And it was super because I worked with the best actors and the best director, and Ramesh Talwar was the director.
Yeah.
And he's such a sweetheart, a theatre person,
Yeah.
There was Shashi Kapoor and Sanjeev Kumar and It was really nice. Everybody took so
What a
much.
combination of actors and director.
What care, Wahida Rahman, and they took so much care of me, you know. And even on Rishida's set,
Yeah.
one person had told him, he was from the press, and he had told him that I told Swaroop, don't do films, it's a very dirty world. So Rishida put his arms around me and he says, don't worry, we will take care of you, it's not a dirty world.
Any interesting incident you can think of while working with Rishida?
Incidents, I don't have so many. Oh yeah, of course I do.
हाँ, ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है कि नहीं होगा कोई?
Okay, so there was Hangal Saab,
Yeah,
Amol Palekar,
yeah,
Deena Pathak,
yeah,
Kiran, Swaroop,
yeah,
Utpal Dutt,
yeah,
except Shatruji, all of us from theatre.
yeah.
You know what Rishida used to do? वो कैमरा क्रेन पे लगाते थे. As it is, you know, he was one of the best editors ever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
तो उनका एक shot में he used to do his whole editing.
Short division.
Give us his full shot division.
Yeah.
He would give us 2-3 page का scene. करो. I said, दादा, इतना लंबा. And Amul would say, so long. Theatre के हो ना? You must be used to this. Do it. And he would do his cutting in the shot, in that one take.
My God.
Swaroop's close to Amul's close to 2 shot to 3 shot to long shot to back to close up. वो पूरा camera crane पे. And the camera
My
would move like
God.
this. And we would do that one scene.
My God.
And imagine, I was new. My first film. Karo. But it was fun.
Fantastic.
Because imagine Utpal Da, Amul, Hangal Saab and me. But I didn't have any scenes with Deena Ben. So it was these 3 men that I had, and I was in the best space. And Rishida would say, you never have to worry. So I said, why? He says, you know, you've got the perfect face. Your face is the most, you know, like the space you learn in art school.
Yeah.
Cut 3, half, this. So there's no angle in which you look bad. So you don't worry. You go on. And at that time I was so lovely, slim. I don't have to worry backside shot, front side. No problem, nothing to hide.
Correct.
And then there's Rishida saying, you and Leela Naidu. The best faces. Now you're doing shot light. Oh
Fantastic.
God, it was super fun. But like I was telling your unit, that I always made friends with the sound recordist and the cameraman. Cameraman, because it was his equipment that I'm in love with.
Yeah.
You know, there's no camera in the world that doesn't like me. And so, hence the DOP. But हमारे time में there was no vans and all that. So, हमेशा the sound recordist would find the most saaf sutra, clean place and sit down.
Yeah.
And I would be his best friend, so I would be sitting there. So that's how it was, because I remember Karnala Bird Sanctuary.
Yeah.
I changed in a bus stop. I mean, they literally hung a bed sheet and I changed over there. And एक किसी का हट था, उनको बोला 2 मिनट हीरोइन को कपड़े बदलने दो, और मैंने कपड़े वहाँ बदले हैं. So we had all that, you know. But it was fun, you know, when you're with such great stalwarts. What are you worrying about, you know? Like, you're having the best time of your life. You're 19 years old. Yeah, 18 and a half, 19. And, you know, you're working with Utpal Da. And Utpal Da is doing kushi with you.
What an actor.
What an actor. What a time. I had such a beautiful time.
You know,
Sorry, I interrupted
the best moments we shared together was
Ye Jo Hai Zindagi.
great show of Ye Jo Hai Zindagi, where you used to rag me as being an assistant. I want to know, we are talking about a show called Ye Jo Hai Zindagi, which was the first comedy show on Doordarshan, which came under sponsored category. Swaroop was doing one of the major leads in that show. Swaroop, I want you to narrate to people how did Ye Jo Hai Zindagi came in your life, and your experiences to work with great directors like Kundan Shah and Manjul Sena. वो टाइम ऐसा था कि अब तो सब चीज़ें अवेलेबल हैं. टाइम ऐसा था जब 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 चीज़ें नहीं थी, हम छोटे से कमरे में हम शूट करते थे पूरा शो. Some interesting incidences, your experiences of working with Kundan, with Shafi Bhai, with Satish Shah, and then later on with Farida ji and Rakesh Bedi. So with the great writers like Sharad Joshi, Ajay Karthik, तो जो पूरा माहौल टेलीविजन का था, let us know some interest, and how did it come to you?
I remember Manjul telling me this, that when I became Miss India, he had put up my picture.
Yeah.
He was at the institute.
Yeah.
And he had put up my picture and saying कि Bombay जाके इसके साथ काम करूँगा.
क्या बात है?
I said, wow, okay, I'm very flattered, you know.
Yeah.
And so Satish Shah and I knew each other very well. Of course, I knew Shafi Bhai very well because Shafi Bhai acted in INT with Dad.
Yeah.
So I knew Shafi Bhai when I was about 12, 13.
Yeah.
Because they used to come home and, they were in the youth wing of the Indian National Theatre. So, but the offer came through Satish.
Yeah. Okay.
Satish said he knew me and I'd already done a film with Bedi too.
Okay.
So Rakesh said, oh yeah, I know her.
Yeah.
So Satish said, I will take you to her house. She lives very close to my house.
Yeah.
So he brought Manjul and Kundan.
Okay.
You know, Ashok, that day in the morning, they came in the afternoon. In the morning, I was offered another serial.
Okay.
Those people gave me a whole episode to watch.
Okay.
And I knew exactly what my role was. And these guys came and they said, ऐसा कुछ होगा, ऐसा कुछ होगा, ऐसा कुछ होगा. You know, imagine what must have been my luck, must have been my destiny, what must have been my instinct, that I said no to that serial which was perfect.
Achha.
And on the paper, perfect. And I said, no, I'll go with these guys.
Uh-huh.
They look like fun people.
Yeah.
And I did Ye Jo Hai Zindagi. And I said, yes, I will
You
do
became
it. The sweetheart
name
of
and
India.
everybody, every family used to identify with you, and actually everybody fell in love with you. Yeah, I remember my mother, my neighbors, people in the families. यार ये correct character है, हमको घर में ऐसी बहू चाहिए, ऐसी बहन चाहिए, ऐसी बेटी चाहिए. You became a symbol.
There was one very funny incident.
Correct.
I met somebody who was studying in IIT Kharagpur. And he said, can I tell you something? I said, yeah. Saying, well, we had a list of people, two lists for girls.
Yeah.
One were the ones you dated and had a good time with. And one who you married.
Yeah.
And your name was on the top of the one who married. So I said, why should I feel bad? That's so good. So everybody wanted to marry you.
What was the experience that Ye Jo Zindagi had?
Ye Jo Hai Zindagi was a super... It was an incredible experience. We worked so hard, as you know.
Yeah.
And you know how much we harassed you.
Yeah.
I was just telling my son Anirudh that Ashok would come with the dialogues and we'd tell him, get out of here, we are not going to do the dialogues. And he said, nahi yaar, please dialogues kar lo. Nahi, dialogues nahi sunne, karna nahi hai. Achha, ek baar sun to lo. Nahi sunna hai, you get out of here. We don't want to do anything. How much we used to harass you, my God, poor you.
Yeah.
But, that working together to get the best out of each other worked like that. Our directors, of course, had a great sense of humor. But they were so mad. Like I remember once he went up to one girl and he says, Swaroop, why aren't you ready? So she says, I'm not Swaroop. Okay, then where is Swaroop?
That's typical Kundan. That's typical Kundan.
I know, and it was every day like that, craziness. Such funny
what
things.
Directors, Kundan,
What
Manjul,
directors?
Kundan, after his Janivadu Yaro and all the kind of films, and on set, the way they used to create scenes, Manjul and Kundan,
Yes.
the way they used to, when I used to read the script, I never could imagine that this is exactly what is going to be on screen.
And how we executed it.
Yeah, no, actually,
वो भी तो बोलो.
credit तो तुम लोगों को भी आता, definitely. I can't
I'm
be
just
very
joking.
shy about
We
it.
all worked so hard.
Yeah.
Remember that one episode we shot for 36 hours continuously?
Yeah.
We actors went on working, the two directors, one went to sleep, one... The DOP went to sleep on the stool, yeah.
Yeah.
It said, chalo, take 1, 2, 3. Okay, 12. अच्छा, 12 पे आ गया. And he's
वो
like
पूरी
sleeping.
नींद में था.
Yeah, he
पूरा सो
slept.
गया था और 21 टेक हो चुके थे तब तक.
I swear, just imagine.
2 पे सोया था, सेकंड टेक पे
That
सोया
was
था.
that one which I become a man.
Yeah,
I remember
correct,
that. It was that
correct,
office one.
correct.
But what Sharad ji ने लिखा भी था, my favorite line is where I'm dressed as a man.
Yeah.
And Shafi, my husband, is shaking my hand.
Yeah.
And he says, ये हाथ कुछ मिला मिलाया सा लगता है. Oh God, what?
Sharad Joshi also was
humor, but
fantastic,
कितना beautiful, like it wasn't hard, it wasn't loud. But I remember one thing of Manjul's which touched me so much is the amount of care we took in making it. They took.
Yeah.
He said one thing to me once. He says, we don't want to offend anybody.
Yeah.
So we are not rich, we are not poor. We don't eat non-vegetarian, we don't eat vegetarian.
Yeah.
We are not Hindu, Muslim, no culture, no caste, no this. I don't mean no culture. No religion, no caste, no nothing.
Yeah.
We are Indian.
Yeah. Entire family.
And that's why everybody understood us.
Identified with it.
From the rich to the poor.
Yeah.
From north to south. You don't know how many people in the south love it. I remember once I was sitting with a friend from Kerala.
Yeah.
My neighbor after I got married. And I was sitting on her kitchen platform.
Yeah.
And, making chutney sandwiches for the kids. And I just put chutney on her. And she put on me. Then she says, I can't imagine I'm doing this with Swaroop Sampat. I used to love you in Ye Jo Hai Zindagi. And she was from Kerala.
Yeah.
So, even if they didn't know Hindi, they would still be watching Ye Jo Hai Zindagi. So, it was a beautiful experience. We worked very hard. We learnt a lot. We became very good friends. I remember that. You remember how they taught me all the bad words?
Yeah.
So, it started like that they would not, they would say, sorry, Swaroop.
Yeah.
When
After
they said
using bad words, yeah.
Then they said, yaar, ye sorry bolna is very... Bedi, huh? He was the one. Says, no, it's very boring to say sorry all the time.
Yeah.
Look, Swaroop, these are the bad words. Sorry once and for all.
Yeah.
Then they saw, ke isko to koi farak nahi padta. So they said, now let's start teaching her. And they would teach me bad words. Now, I was from an English school and I didn't know many bad words. I only knew a few in English. I didn't know Hindi bad words. They would make me say it loudly in the studio.
Yeah.
And the dirty jokes that they would crack and all that. And the funniest thing was when Farida ji came. So you remember Farida ji came halfway through.
Halfway through, yeah, correct.
And then when she came, she was this huge Farida Jalal who came.
Yeah.
So the first day we are like quiet, talking good, behaving ourselves, achhe bache.
Correct.
Till Bedi again, he could not stay. He says, I can't stay like this.
Without using bad words,
Yeah. So he says, Farida ji, ek dirty joke hai. And Farida ji goes, hey! And when she did that, we all stopped.
Yeah.
All of us became quiet. And she goes, Bolo kamino, kaan to khule hai.
She also started enjoying it, yaar. कितना enjoy करती थी वो?
बहुत enjoy
Bad
करती
words,
थी.
yeah.
Oh my God, what all we did, na?
Let's gossip now.
Let's gossip, come on.
परेश रावल आपकी ज़िंदगी में कैसे आया और परेश रावल के साथ जो आपकी इश्क की कहानी है ये बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है. I've seen Paresh. I'm a very big fan of his. Though we are friends, but I've seen him at his peak, at his best on stage. फिल्म में, सिनेमा में, टेलीविजन में जो भी कुछ किया उसने किया and it's all masterpiece. लेकिन मैं अगर अपनी बायोपिक कभी लिखूं, अगर उस लायक बनूं, तो आई विल राइट अबाउट परेश रावल्स परफॉर्मेंस इन तोखार. वो जो साइकिक केस का जो परेश ने वो, आई थिंक परेश हैज नॉट गॉन बियॉन्ड तोखार इन एनी ऑफ हिज परफॉर्मेंसेस. तो इमेजिन करो कि हम उसके इतने बड़े फैन हैं उसके बाकी परफॉर्मेंसेस के, तो तोखार क्या होगा? तोखार क्या होगा? तो मैंने बैकस्टेज किया उस प्ले में और आप लोगों के साथ आपके काफ़ी प्लेज में आई यूज्ड टू डू लॉट ऑफ बैकस्टेज एंड वी यूज्ड टू ट्रैवल टुगेदर इन बस टू वेरियस सिटीज़. ये तो आप लोगों का इश्क तभी शुरू हो चुका था, तो मैंने वो पूरा इश्क को खिलते हुए देखा है अपने आप खुद. इट वाज अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग लव स्टोरी. But I want you to tell people how it happened, how Paresh came in your life, because he's really played a very important role in your life, and is one of the finest couples we know, people know, the industry knows.
So it actually started from Paresh's side, which I didn't know. So it was like those really Shakespeare ka Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
I was just out of school, and I really remember that day. I was wearing a pink sari. I remember it very clearly because I had thrown a little bit of a tantrum at home.
You were in Lala Lajpat Rai College, no?
No, I was in Sophia Polytechnic.
Yeah.
And I was in Elphinstone Morning College.
Okay, yeah.
So, Shambhu Mitra's Theatre Festival.
Okay.
And I was helping with the brochures and all, INT ka tha.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't have anything to wear. And mom says, sari pehen ke jao.
Yeah.
So first time in my life I wore a sari.
Okay.
And while I was giving out these brochures, Paresh came with his best friend Mahendra Joshi
Yeah.
and says, Yaar, I'm going to marry this girl. So they go, are you mad? You don't even know who she is.
Yeah.
Saying, nahi, let's find out. So they went to find out. And they found out that I'm boss's daughter. So Paresh to chup. He didn't talk.
Boss, you're talking about your father.
My dad,
Bachu
yeah,
Bhai.
Bachu Bhai. So dad was the chief producer. They were in the, junior wing. Then plays. So intercollegiate, you remember Paresh was the king of intercollegiate.
Yeah, correct, absolutely.
So we'd gone to see this intercollegiate at Bhavans.
Yeah.
And I was sitting and watching this play. And I was stunned by that performance, including the audience.
Yeah.
And it had so much gali galoch that nobody talked to them. And I was this one, first of all, I told you I used to not know half the galis, so it didn't make any difference. Typical South Bombay girl went and told him that you are fantastic.
What play was this? Remember?
It was this play called Engen.
Engen,
Indian Wants the Bronx.
Yeah.
So I went and told him, and he was so thrilled that I came and talked to him. That from Bhavans to Grant Road, he went walking, batofying his 555 cigarettes. We used to smoke them.
Yeah.
Then we worked in theatre together, and he said, let's go for a film, and, let's meet. And, we started working together, and we became friends. But Paresh is a very funny person. In that way, not funny in the funny way, but it was a weird thing. He talked to me and he said, would you marry me? So I said, oh, you're talking of going steady. This is South Bombay girl. So he says, I'm giving you a week. If you will marry me, not now, but soon, then we can have a friendship. At that time I said, yeah. Later on I realized what a good thing this guy did. Because he says, I don't have energy to invest in a relationship which is not going to last. So if I'm investing so much of my emotions in it, I want a permanent relationship. And so imagine at 17, 18 we were, promised to each other.
Yeah.
Of course we didn't tell anybody, because my parents would have probably refused an out-of-work actor for a son-in-law.
Yeah.
We didn't tell our parents till Paresh did Naam. And it was a super hit and he got lots of work.
Yeah.
And my parents, of course, agreed. But we had a relationship where he'd come home. So it wasn't hidden. Yeah. But it wasn't obvious. And we didn't talk about it to the press or anybody. So nobody really knew that, except the people we worked with.
Yeah. What is his best performance? I know he's performed, every character he's played, he's the best, yeah. But एक होता ना एक character जो उसने play किया है कि मुझे लगता है यार ये this is the best.
Tokhar, yes, for theatre.
Yeah.
My first play.
Yeah.
I played the Lady Magistrate with Shafi Bhai.
Yeah.
And Paresh.
Yeah, of course I know it.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, correct.
So we used to sit on the stage. Remember, the play was where we sat on the stage every day. We used to see his performance. But you remember Paresh at that time was a skinny guy.
Of course.
And our favorite actor was Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
And he would say that, only chocolate heroes body banate hain. Because he was lazy.
Yeah.
So I said, no, look at Marlon Brando. He's such a fantastic actor and look at his body. So वो हमारा चलता रहता था. For us, Marlon Brando was the best. Years, good performances, and he did this film called Sardar.
Yeah.
In Sardar, there's this beautiful scene where he's talking to his secretary and he says, I hope that the future generation realize that we even love our country. And what we did in this situation was the best we could do.
Yeah.
And we love our country. That's such an incredible scene, Ashok.
Yeah.
I saw that scene and I said, Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
So for me, he had reached the ultimate of performances.
The kind of shades, timing of comedy is so good.
So good.
मतलब जो different
I'll
areas
tell you one
हैं.
thing. I'd done a play with him.
Yeah.
That was even college days.
Yeah.
It was a play which Jani had directed.
दिन का जानी है.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was playing a villain and something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
In the rehearsals, I used to go on laughing.
Yeah.
Even on stage, I used to go on laughing. I couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then I learned that when you're working with Paresh Rawal, don't laugh in the rehearsal even.
Yeah.
Because if you laugh in the rehearsal, in the scenes, you will laugh.
Yeah.
We did Shadi@barbadi.com so much later, and
Yeah,
when
yeah.
I was doing my PhD.
Yeah.
Craziness. Paresh is mad, in comedy.
What a...
But he's so good in his serious roles too, so you can't decide.
Yeah. Which is the best
Like
performer.
Sir is so good, Kabza is so good, Hera Fairy is so good.
Yeah.
Just adore him in Andaz Apna Apna,
Yeah.
Avara Pagal Divana, Hangama.
Hangama. Yeah.
And his later plays, Dear Father.
Dear Father. Yeah. Yeah.
He's so good. So it's very difficult to say which is it that you like best.
I know.
Each one has some meaning because of the relationship that you have.
एंड उसका कमाल ये है कि एक तो मेथड एक्टर नहीं है, वो इतना स्पॉन्टेनियस है और वो इतना लगता है कि मतलब उसके हर नस में, हर चेहरे पे, पूरे शरीर में वो कैरेक्टर इंग्रेव्ड है और वो कैरेक्टर उसको पता ही क्या करना है क्या नहीं करना है. देयर इज नो एक होता है ना, एक एफर्ट होता है, एफर्टलेस परफॉर्मर है.
What I think he does is he takes the soul of the character.
Yeah.
So he doesn't do mannerisms, he doesn't do get-ups,
Yeah.
but he has the soul of that character. And that's why it looks effortless, because you think this person would behave like this only.
Yeah. You have two lovely sons.
Yes, Anirudh and
One is
Aditya.
a brilliant actor, Aditya. I'm a very big, again, a fan of his. The way he performed in Hansal Mehta's film. Faraz. It was very good. And Anirudh, who's a writer.
No, and Aditya is a writer and an actor.
Okay.
Anirudh used to be an assistant with Nasiruddin Shah and in Yashraj Films.
Okay.
And now he's acted. He just acted in this web series called Scoop.
Yeah.
With Hansal Mehta.
Yeah.
Imagine both my sons acted with Hansal Mehta.
anything which you want to gossip about both of them, because ये podcast खत्म नहीं होगा जब तक we don't gossip about your two young
boys.
smart boys. Yeah.
Oh God, it's so much fun with them.
How do they? I remember you telling me that they both pull your leg and they really harass you.
Yeah. So they think I'm very loud.
Yeah.
And Anirudh says, Mom, you say every word of every alphabet of the word you say it. Why do you speak? Says, shut up, don't teach me acting, okay? And Aditya loves harassing Paresh.
Yeah, okay.
And both of them harass him.
Yeah.
One of the worst things for him is having to do their auditions. Now, if you've got a Paresh Rawal father in the house, you have to help them and do auditions.
Yeah.
But Paresh Rawal ke liye audition karna is very boring. Now, we have all the other people in the staff or me holding the cell, to record the audition.
Yeah.
But dialogues to Paresh ko hi bolna padega. And he starts getting so angry. And when Anirudh goes, let me make my hair proper. Nahi, badhu barabar che. So then they turn around and say, Dad, for you, everything is okay. You can go looking like a slob because you're such a big actor.
Yeah.
But we have to get our hair in place.
Yeah.
So the best compliment I received from them was when I did this film Uri.
Yeah.
Where Paresh plays Dol and I play the mother.
Yeah.
Aditya comes home and says, Mom was 100 times better than you. I was so happy.
वो खुश करने के लिए बोला होगा उसने, बदमाश है वो, I know.
But no, so it's very nice. There's this great respect. They're all the time fighting. And Aditya तो पढ़ लिख के आया ना New York से about screenplay writing.
Yeah.
So he'll say, Dad, the screenplay, like Dear Father,
Yeah.
he's written the Gujarati screenplay.
Okay.
He wanted to cut it by half an hour and Paresh didn't.
Okay.
Paresh wanted to add his comedy scenes.
Uh-huh.
And जो झगड़े होते थे. But you know what I love is the respect that the kids have for their dad and they don't do anything without it.
Yeah.
So Paresh तो बहुत फंस जाता है because then he has to read all the stories that are offered.
Yeah.
And he says, no, this is not good, this is good. And you know, things like that.
Yeah.
So ये सब चलता है. What was very interesting was when they were growing up with my father and Paresh, every Saturday we had a film show.
Fantastic.
So for 15 Saturdays, we watched Hitchcock. And we would, after seeing the film, we would sit and discuss it. But this is when the kids were young, they were in college. It was not with the plan that they would become actors.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun because there was Dad, there was Paresh, and you know, them. One thing which really is nice, it's not a gossip thing, but it's a very nice thing, is that you remember Aditya's film Bumfar was released in the pandemic. So one day we said we're going to sit to watch it. And the whole house sat to watch it. और मैंने याद है मैंने आटे का शीरा बनाया था. Because there wasn't much available. There was atta in the house, there was sugar and ghee, and और तो क्या मिठाई बनाती मैं. So I felt so nice that I made this आटे का शीरा to celebrate Aditya's film release. But what was beautiful was after the film was over, you know, the boys sat down with Paresh and they started, Dad, what should we have done? What could you have done better? What could be done differently? How would you have done it? So we have master classes in our house.
Fantastic.
It's beautiful. It's a lovely atmosphere of learning. And Paresh bhi aisa hai, you know, touch wood. Paresh is so mad. You know what he said one day to me? I'm telling you now in the pandemic. He said, I think I'll stop working for 1 year and I will go maybe to Europe, maybe to be with Nasir Bhai and just relearn acting. I said, Paresh, what are you saying? He's saying, you know, there may be times I've forgotten things I can do better. Maybe I should learn and relearn. So that's the kind of atmosphere we have in our house where you're not really pampered. You just have to do your work. Paresh ने तो बच्चों को पहले ही बोल दिया था कि I will never make a film for you. So forget about it. My father didn't make a film for me. I'm not going to make one for you. Of course, as a mother, I'm all the time talking about them. My sons are the best actors in the world and they're so handsome. And means they seriously are. So then they come and tell me, okay, Mom, how much you talk about us? I said, please don't tell me. I will continue because I'm the mother and that's the right of a mother to praise her sons. So for me, the most handsome boys in the world are Aditya and Anirudh. They're the best actors in the world and they're the best human beings.
Swaroop, you know, we can go on and on.
I know.
In fact, हम इस तरह से बैठे हैं post ये जो ज़िंदगी show, and it is really a pleasure sitting with you for last 1 hour. And it was a learning experience for me because it's a different Swaroop Sampat I'm sitting with, which she was not when
I know,
we
that
used to
little
go
girl.
together. Little girl.
I wasn't little yet. I was 25, but still.
It has this 1 hour has been an experience. I'm being very honest about it. Talking to you, knowing about so many facets of life, and your choice of things which you're doing in your life to achieve. You want kids to be fine. You want people to be fine. You want people to be successful in life. I think this is a fantastic character of yours, which I think people should know about, and that's why we spoke more about that, because that is what had inspired me and my entire team about this area of yours. And I was really very keen that people should be aware of this side of yours. And I'm sure that listening to this podcast, uh, people will be inspired, people will think over it, and a request to the those fourth pillars, to the media, to opinion makers of this country, to talk about this, to talk about this brave lady who's sacrificing a good time, her comfort zone, and doing so much for the people. Um Swaroop Sampat, when she says that I've not got a single award, I'm sure she doesn't mean that the trophy. Award is when the system acknowledges that what she's doing for the society. कहीं ना कहीं एक टीस बचती है अंदर जब आपको पता चलता है कि कोई शख्स इतना अच्छा काम कर रहा है लोगों के लिए, पब्लिक के लिए, सब कुछ अपना दाव पे लगाकर, तो मुझे लगता है उसकी बातें होनी चाहिए. Swaroop, thank you very much for
Thank
your
you.
time, for your brilliant conversation. Yeah, the way you have expressed all that will be helpful to people. I'm sure we will meet again and
Sure.
be prepared for the next podcast.
And when I meet you in the park, I catch you and say, Ashok, suno, मैंने ये किया.
Yeah, that we do when we meet during morning walks
Yes.
at the same park, because Swaroop lives very near to my house. Thank you very much to be part of this show, and I'm sure you will keep on loving this show and sharing this podcast of mine to people on social media. Thank you.